New York is a city that never sleeps. Its streets are alive with lights, laughter, and the aroma of food. But not every diner, bistro, or old tavern is just a place to eat. Some hide the echoes of the past. Some serve more than meals. Some welcome guests from beyond the grave. Where dishes may be served with a side of the supernatural. Where laughter can turn to whispers. Where shadows linger long after the candles are blown out. Where laughter can turn to whispers. Prepare yourself. The spirits are already waiting at the table. Greetings, my friend. Thank you for joining me tonight as we explore 20 haunted restaurants across New York. Some are tucked away in narrow streets. Others occupy grand buildings with rich histories. All of them have one thing in common, the presence of spirits who refuse to leave. Perhaps a chef long gone still haunts the kitchen, stirring pots when no one is there. Perhaps a guest from the past still sits in a booth, waiting for a meal that never came. Some visitors feel icy fingers brushing their shoulders. Some hear footsteps echoing when no one is in the hallway. Imagine sitting alone at a table. The lights flicker. You hear laughter behind you. You turn. No one is there. Yet the air feels thick with presence. Some hauntings are playful. Some are warning. Some are tragic and sorrowful. Now, before we enter these haunted establishments, I have a question for you. If you were dining alone and saw a ghostly figure appear across the room, would you continue eating? Or would you leave immediately, heart racing? Comment your answer. I am eager to see how brave you are when the spirits join the meal. Fraunces Tavern stands in Lower Manhattan, a building steeped in history. Its brick walls have witnessed the formation of a nation, hosting revolutionary leaders and secret meetings that shaped the course of American independence. By day, it serves as a restaurant and museum, bustling with visitors drawn to its storied past. But by night, the atmosphere changes. The tavern takes on a quieter, more solemn presence, as if the past itself lingers among the tables and beams. Patrons and staff have reported unusual occurrences after closing hours. Some speak of a figure dressed in colonial attire. The clothing is detailed, reminiscent of the 18th century. With a waistcoat, breeches, and a tricorn hat. The figure moves deliberately, pausing at certain points as if observing the surroundings. Yet never interacts directly with anyone present. Witnesses describe the figure as both imposing and subtle. It can appear near the bar or in the hallway leading to the upper rooms. Sometimes it vanishes when approached, leaving only the faintest impression that someone was just there. Others have felt a sudden chill or the sense of being watched, though the tavern is otherwise empty. The presence is not threatening but carries the weight of history, a silent reminder of the taverna's revolutionary past. Whispers add to the mystery. Voices speak in tones of urgency and secrecy. As if replaying old meetings and conversations that once determined the fate of a fledgling nation. Listeners cannot make out the exact words. But the cadence and emotion are unmistakable, carrying a sense of planning, tension, and quiet resolve. The architecture of Fraunces Tavern contributes to the atmosphere. Wooden floors creak underfoot, and narrow staircases and low ceilings create pockets where sound travels in unusual ways. In this environment, it is easy to imagine the past overlapping with the present, and to understand why witnesses perceive the presence of someone from another era. The taverna's history reinforces the experiences of visitors. It was here that revolutionary leaders met in secret, planning strategies, sharing intelligence, and raising hopes for independence. The figure that appears is often interpreted as one of these patriots, returning to the space that once shaped their lives and the destiny of a nation. The whispers may be echoes of strategy, discussion, or simple camaraderie, preserved in the energy of the building itself. Encounters are varied. Some witnesses see the figure briefly in the glow of a lantern or under dim lighting, only to find the hallway empty moments later. Others hear footsteps pacing along the wooden floors above, with no one present. The figure does not approach or threaten, but it moves with purpose, tracing a path that seems familiar, as if walking routines established centuries ago. Attempts to capture the phenomenon have yielded only partial evidence. Photographs sometimes reveal a shadowy form or a faint outline near the bar or staircase. Audio recordings occasionally pick up indistinct murmurs or creaking steps. Yet the full essence of the experience exists in memory and perception, in the subtle tension and the sense of connection to history. Visitors leave with impressions that linger, stories that are retold, and a renewed awareness of the tavern's role in the Revolutionary era. Fraunces Tavern at night becomes a space where the past and present converge. The presence of the revolutionary spirit reminds visitors that history is not only recorded in documents and artifacts but is also alive in the spaces where it unfolded. The figure in colonial dress and the whispers of secret conversations serve as a bridge across time, a living echo of the decisions, risks, and determination that defined a pivotal moment in history. For those who walk the halls after dark, there is the possibility of glimpsing the figure, feeling the weight of unseen observation, or hearing the quiet murmurs of long-past conversations. The revolutionary spirit of Fraunces Tavern is a reminder that some places carry memory beyond the tangible, preserving moments of courage, strategy, and humanity. Visitors are left with a sense of reverence, awe, and the haunting beauty of a history that continues to speak long after the last candle has burned. Fraunces Tavern remains a testament to resilience and history. It is a place where the energy of the past intertwines with the present, and where the revolutionary spirit silently guides those who come seeking more than architecture or artifacts. In the quiet hours, amid the shadows and creaking floorboards, the tavern tells its story once again, offering a glimpse of the past that is vivid, mysterious, and deeply human. Uxorlia's Old Ale House stands as a relic of New York's history, a place where time seems to move differently. The wooden floors creak underfoot, worn smooth by generations of patrons. Brick walls hold decades of stories, and the air carries a faint aroma of malt, oak, and aged spirits. During the day, the pub is lively, filled with conversation and laughter. But when the evening quiet settles in, some visitors speak of a presence that defies explanation. A shadow that moves behind the bar long after the crowd has thinned. It is here that the shadow bartender is said to appear. A figure behind the counter, shaping glasses and pouring drinks, yet serving no one. Patrons have reported seeing movements in the corner of their eyes, shadows gliding across the room where no one stands. The bar seems alive, filled with the low hum of unseen activity. Glasses clink together without cause, as if set in motion by hands no one can see. The sensation is subtle, yet it is enough to make the hairs on the back of the neck rise and create a feeling of being observed. The atmosphere of Uxorlia's contributes to these experiences. Dim lighting casts elongated shadows on the walls, and the reflections in the mirrors behind the bar create illusions that play tricks on perception. The wooden shelves, stacked with bottles that have held spirits for decades, seem to vibrate with a presence, a memory of the many who have come and gone. In this space, the line between past and present feels blurred, and the shadow bartender moves in that liminal space. Witnesses describe moments of interaction that are both brief and unsettling. A glass may tremble in place, as if nudged by a hand. Or a warm brush may graze a shoulder, leaving no evidence of contact. The sensation is fleeting but unmistakable, and it often comes with the softest hint of movement behind the counter. Some visitors pause, expecting to see a person standing there, only to find the bar empty. And the sounds of activity vanish with them. The effect is disorienting, a combination of curiosity and unease that lingers long after the experience. Despite the unusual occurrences, the presence is never threatening. There is no aggression, no overt malice, only an awareness. A hint that someone or something continues to perform duties long after the lights dim. The legend has grown over decades, reinforced by consistent accounts. And the unique character of the ale house itself. The design of the pub amplifies the mystery. Narrow passageways, wooden beams, and low ceilings create pockets of darkness, where light struggles to penetrate. Mirrors reflect not just images but shadows, doubling the effect of movement. Even the placement of tables and stools allows for brief glimpses of a figure standing or passing, only for it to disappear when looked at directly. Every corner, every reflection, becomes a potential point of encounter, heightening the sense that the space itself is alive with memory. Stories of the shadow bartender are not limited to visual sightings. The gentle clink of glass against wood, the subtle scrape of a bottle being moved, and the low murmur of activity echo through the room, leaving no source to be found. Visitors report a feeling of being watched or of someone moving just beyond their vision. The sensations are ephemeral, leaving only impressions of action and intention. A puzzle that cannot be solved by logic alone. The legend of the shadow bartender has endured because it is tied to the history of McSorley-s itself. For more than a century, the bar has been a place of work, social gathering, and storytelling. Spirits have been poured, friendships forged, and secrets whispered in its dimly lit corners. The shadow is a natural extension of that history, a lingering presence that reminds visitors of the continuity of human experience. The lives that passed through the space, and the echoes left behind. Visitors who encounter the shadow bartender often recount the experience with a mixture of awe and respect. The presence is not malevolent, yet it is undeniable. It transforms an ordinary visit into an encounter with something beyond perception. The subtle interactions, the sounds, and the fleeting movements leave a lasting impression. A memory of a night when the ordinary became extraordinary. McSorley-s Old Ale House remains a living monument to history and mystery. Its walls, floors, and counters hold layers of time. And within that space, the shadow bartender continues his silent work. For those who pass through, the ale house offers more than a drink or a meal. It provides a glimpse into the unknown. A reminder that some stories are not told through words alone. And that some presences remain, waiting patiently to be noticed, observed, and remembered. In the end, the shadow bartender embodies the spirit of McSorley's itself. A presence rooted in the space, a silent witness to the passing of years. They carry the impression of a figure who exists between the tangible and the intangible. A shadow that serves no one yet touches all who are present. And a reminder that some legends are best experienced in the quiet hours of the night. Behind a bar where history and mystery meet. The Algonquin Hotel restaurant in New York City has long been a gathering place for writers, artists, and thinkers. By day, it hums with conversation and the clatter of dishes, but as evening falls, a different kind of presence begins to make itself known. The air grows quiet, heavy with expectation, and the soft glow of lamps casts long shadows across the tables where literary minds once gathered. Guests have reported strange occurrences that defy explanation. Papers shift across tables without human touch. Pens roll from one side to another as if someone is taking dictation. The faint sound of typing drifts through the air. Rhythmic and purposeful, though no one sits at the table. Laughter, subtle and knowing, echoes across the room. Never fully forming into words but leaving a feeling of familiarity and presence. The figure that appears is rarely seen in full detail. Observers describe a silhouette, seated as if writing or reading, posture rigid with focus. Sometimes it seems to glance toward newcomers, acknowledging their presence with a sense of quiet awareness, before vanishing into the dim corners of the room. Its appearance is fleeting, a momentary glimpse of something that exists between the past and the present. The phenomena are most often reported near tables where writers are known to have worked. Manuscripts, notebooks, and scraps of paper seem to come alive with the invisible touch of fingers long gone. Pens rise and fall, pages flutter, and the faint smell of old ink lingers, adding a tangible element to the unseen activity. Guests often feel the presence keenly, a sense that the room remembers its past occupants and their creative energy. Even the lighting seems to respond. Lamps may flicker. Shadows stretch. And reflections in mirrors suggest movement where none is possible. The effect is not frightening, but mysterious. A reminder that the world is layered with unseen histories and echoes of human endeavor. Visitors describe a sense of being watched, not with hostility, but with curiosity. The figure, whether ghost or memory, engages with the room, influencing the environment without interaction. Laughter may bubble from empty chairs, papers may settle neatly as if guided, and the feeling of presence persists even after the room returns to normal. The energy is gentle yet insistent, a connection across time that speaks of dedication, creativity, and unfinished business. The legend of the literary ghost grows with each account. Some believe it is the spirit of a writer who never left, compelled to continue the work that once defined the room. Others suggest it is a collection of memories, residual energy that animates the objects and ere long after the original creators have passed. Whatever the explanation, the effect is undeniable. An immersive experience that leaves guests both awed and contemplative. The legend of the literary ghost grows with each account. The Algonquin Hotel itself adds to the atmosphere. Its walls, lined with history and adorned with photographs and memorabilia, seem to hold memory in every corner. Soft carpets and polished tables amplify sound and echo, creating the perfect environment for subtle manifestations. The design of the space allows for shadows and reflections, enhancing the sense of presence and allowing imagination to blend seamlessly with observation. Those who encounter the literary ghost often describe emotions ranging from curiosity to inspiration. The experience is subtle enough to intrigue without alarming, a dance between reality and something just beyond perception. Guests report feeling a heightened sense of connection to the creative process, as if the unseen presence encourages thought, observation, and reflection. It is a reminder of the enduring power of ideas and the spaces that nurture them. Even when the figure does not appear, the stories linger. The knowledge that something unseen may be at work transforms the ordinary act of dining or writing into a quiet awareness of history and continuity. Guests leave with a sense of participation in a larger narrative, one that stretches across decades and connects the living to those who came before. The literary ghost of the Algonquin Hotel restaurant embodies the intersection of creativity and mystery. It is a presence that inspires, observes, and quietly reminds all who enter that some spaces retain the energy of their past occupants. Writers and artists may come and go, but their influence remains, occasionally manifesting in subtle, captivating ways. Each evening at the restaurant offers the possibility of witnessing something extraordinary. A pen may move, a page may turn, or a faint echo of typing may drift across the room. Guests who experience it are touched by the past, participants in a narrative that transcends time, a momentary connection to the unseen forces that shape memory and imagination. The Algonquin Hotel restaurant continues to welcome visitors from around the world. Its reputation for history, literature, and mystery intact. The literary ghost remains an enduring symbol of the creative spirit. A presence that bridges generations, reminding all who enter that some stories never end, and that the act of creation can leave traces that linger long after the writer has departed. In this historic space, every table holds potential. Every chair carries memory. And every shadow may conceal the presence of a figure dedicated to the work of imagination. The literary ghost is less a haunting and more a testament to enduring creativity. A subtle force that moves through the restaurant, leaving behind evidence of life, laughter, and letters that continue to resonate across time. Delmonico's has stood for generations as a symbol of culinary excellence. Its dining rooms are polished, filled with the quiet murmur of conversation and the subtle clink of glassware. Patrons come seeking more than a meal, they come for the experience, the tradition, and the legacy of fine cuisine. Yet behind the elegant facade, in the kitchens that hum with energy, some claim there is a presence that defies explanation. It is said that in the quiet hours, when the staff has left and the lights dim, pots and pans sometimes move on their own, sliding across countertops or swinging gently from hooks. Knives shift slightly, as if adjusted by invisible hands. Ingredients appear prepared, neatly arranged and ready, with no one in sight to do the work. The air holds a faint warmth, the smell of herbs and simmering sauces lingering, though no one has stirred a pot. Those who have witnessed these phenomena often describe a sense of calm authority. The spirit is not chaotic or malicious, it is deliberate, exacting, and attentive. It is believed to be the ghost of a former chef, one who dedicated his life to mastering the art of cuisine. In life, he was known for his precision, his insistence on perfection, and his relentless pursuit of the finest flavors. In death, it seems, his devotion has not faded. The kitchen becomes a stage for his enduring presence, a place where the art of cooking continues uninterrupted. Employees have recounted finding dishes arranged perfectly, knives honed to a precise edge, and sauces left to simmer at ideal temperatures, all after a night with no human hands at work. Some report hearing the faint sounds of chopping, the clatter of pans, and the gentle whistle of steam, only to find the kitchen empty. Others have felt a sudden pressure or warmth in the air, a subtle indication that someone or something is nearby, observing, guiding, and ensuring that standards are upheld. Visitors to Delmonico's often speak of the extraordinary quality of the meals, the consistency and attention to detail that seems almost otherworldly. Longtime staff members attribute this to experience and training, yet some quietly acknowledge the kitchena's unseen supervisor. The spirit is said to demand excellence, correcting errors and elevating the ordinary to the extraordinary, making every plate a testament to craftsmanship and care. The legend of the Phantom Chef has grown over the years, woven into the narrative of the restaurant itself. It is part history, part folklore, and part the inexplicable phenomena that occur in the quiet hours. Chefs who have worked under his unseen guidance often describe a blend of respect and wonder. A sense that they are not alone, yet accompanied by a figure dedicated to the highest standards of culinary artistry. The kitchen of Delmonico's is a place of rhythm and precision, yet under the cover of night, it becomes a theater of spectral activity. The movement of utensils, the preparation of dishes, and the lingering aromas all contribute to a feeling that the past is very much present. Witnesses describe a heightened awareness of their surroundings, a sense of being watched by someone who knows the craft intimately and expects the best. Some skeptics have tried to rationalize the events, attributing them to drafts, settling buildings, or vivid imagination in a space filled with memories and history. Yet the repeated consistency of experiences, the specific timing, and the unmistakable precision of the prepared food challenge simple explanations. Whether one views it as supernatural or symbolic, the story reinforces the dedication, passion, and enduring legacy of Delmonico's culinary heritage. Those who have encountered the Phantom Chef speak of a strange comfort in his presence. There is no fear, only a quiet reverence. The experience reminds them of the devotion required to master a craft, the hours of dedication, and the unwavering pursuit of excellence. In some ways, the spirit serves as a mentor, ensuring that the artistry of the kitchen continues, and that the values instilled by generations of chefs remain alive. Delmonico's is more than a restaurant. It is a living chronicle of culinary history, where flavors, techniques, and traditions endure. The Phantom Chef embodies this continuity, bridging the gap between past and present, reminding all who work or dine there that excellence is timeless. In the quiet hours, when the kitchen breathes on its own and unseen hands move with purpose, the legacy of dedication, precision, and love for the craft is palpable, creating an experience that lingers long after the meal is finished. The spirit of the Phantom Chef is a subtle guardian, a reminder that passion can transcend life itself. Each dish prepared, each utensil moved, each aroma lingering in the air tells a story of commitment and mastery. Delmonico's is a place where history and the supernatural converge. Where the dedication of one man continues to influence generations. And where the unseen presence ensures that the heart of the kitchen beats strong, meticulous, and eternal. Tavern on the Green has long been a symbol of elegance and charm in Central Park. Its dining rooms are filled with the soft murmur of conversation, the clinking of silverware, and the warm glow of chandeliers. By day, it is a bustling restaurant, a place where visitors and locals alike gather to enjoy meals surrounded by greenery and historic architecture. But as evening settles in, a different presence makes itself known, one that has intrigued and unsettled staff and patrons for decades. Reports tell of a young waitress who once worked at the tavern many years ago. She is said to have died tragically while still serving guests, and her memory lingers within the walls of the restaurant. At night, long after the last table has been cleared and the lights dimmed, some visitors claim to see her walking through the dining rooms. She moves gracefully, her uniform crisp and neat, as if ready to attend to guests. Her presence is quiet, almost ethereal, yet unmistakably human in shape and motion. Witnesses describe her as smiling warmly, offering a glance of recognition or kindness to those she passes. It is a smile that carries a sense of familiarity, a gesture that would seem welcoming to any diner. Yet when someone attempts to approach her, the figure vanishes without a trace. Chairs remain unoccupied, floors are empty, and no sound of movement follows. The effect is both comforting and eerie, as if the past has stepped forward for a moment before receding into the present. The experience is subtle yet persistent. Lights may flicker, shadows appear along the walls, and footsteps echo where no one walks. Patrons have sometimes noticed the brief outline of a figure moving behind service counters or passing silently along aisles between tables. The encounters are brief but leave a strong impression, a sense that the tavern remembers those who once gave it life. The architecture of Tavern on the Green contributes to the atmosphere. Tall windows allow moonlight to spill across polished floors, casting elongated shadows that shift with the gentle movement of air. Wooden beams and ornate railings create pockets of light and dark where the figure may appear, blending seamlessly with the environment. The dining rooms, designed to host elegance and sophistication, now serve as a stage for subtle apparitions, where history and memory intersect in tangible ways. Guests who experience the presence describe a mixture of curiosity and reverence. The wandering waitress does not intimidate or frighten, but her appearance is uncanny. A reminder that time is layered within familiar spaces. The faint impression of a figure, the sense of being observed, and the sudden disappearance combine to create a narrative that feels alive and personal. Each witness interprets the encounter through their own lens, yet the consistency of descriptions across decades suggests something enduring and unexplained. Some speculate that the young waitress's spirit remains because of unfinished connections, a devotion to her work, or a longing. Or a longing for the days she served patrons in life. Others interpret her presence as a gentle guardian of the space, watching over those who enter. Regardless of the explanation, her figure continues to inspire stories and memories. Bridging the past with the present in a subtle but powerful way. Encounters often occur during quiet moments, when the bustle of the restaurant has faded and the mind is attuned to small details. Observers notice movement from the corner of the eye, glimpses in reflective surfaces, or the sensation of warmth or presence nearby. These moments are fleeting, leaving witnesses to question what they saw, yet the impression endures, a persistent whisper of history embedded within the walls of Tavern on the Green. The story of the wandering waitress has become part of the cultural fabric of the restaurant. Tales are shared quietly among staff and visitors, sometimes whispered in confidence. Sometimes retold as local legend. Her presence reminds those who enter that buildings carry memory. That places frequented by human activity can hold echoes of life long past. The tavern is more than a dining space. It is a vessel of history, alive with the moments of those who have walked its floors before. For those who witnessed the apparition, there is a sense of connection. A smile that lingers in memory, a figure that moves with grace and purpose. And the subtle reassurance that some part of the past remains present. Tavern on the Green continues to welcome guests, yet those who walk its halls after dark may encounter the young waitress, smiling softly and vanishing just out of reach. A reminder that history is never truly gone. The wandering waitress is a testament to memory, devotion, and the subtle ways the past can touch the present. Within the glow of chandeliers, the warmth of polished wood, and the quiet spaces between tables, she moves unseen yet observed. An enduring presence in a place that has witnessed countless lives, conversations, and moments. Tavern on the Green remains a site of elegance, history, and the gentle mystery of a spirit who continues to serve long after her time on earth has ended. Keen's Steakhouse is a place steeped in history, its walls lined with mementos of New York's social and cultural past. The wooden beams overhead, the dim lighting, and the aged leather chairs create an atmosphere that feels both grand and intimate. Patrons dine surrounded by pipes displayed in glass cases and portraits of long-gone guests whose eyes seem to follow the room. Amid this historic ambience, stories have persisted for decades about a presence that appears when the evening quiet settles in, a figure unlike any living visitor. This is the ghostly clubman. A man dressed in the formal attire of another era, complete with a top hat and a cigar. Witnesses describe him appearing silently in corners or near the portraits lining the walls. He pauses to examine the faces captured in paint, as if recalling names and conversations long past. The glow of his cigar sometimes casts a faint haze, flickering in the low light. He moves with deliberate calm, a figure entirely composed yet elusive, fading from sight before anyone can approach. The experience of seeing the clubman is subtle yet profound. There is no sudden scare, no rush of cold air. Instead, there is a weight of presence, a feeling that someone has entered the room, observing without intrusion. Patrons have recounted feeling a slight shift in the air, a movement just at the edge of vision, and then seeing him standing by a portrait or drifting across the floor. The encounter is fleeting, leaving an impression of history come to life, a reminder that the past never fully leaves a place. Keen's unique environment enhances these experiences. Low ceilings, soft lighting, and polished wood surfaces create an intimacy that makes every shadow and reflection more pronounced. Mirrors reflect not just the room, but the movements within it, sometimes doubling the sense of a figure being present. The portraits of patrons from decades past create an unbroken connection to history, making the presence of the clubman feel natural within the narrative of the space. Sounds often accompany sightings. The combination of these sensory cues creates an immersive experience, leaving witnesses with the undeniable impression of a figure who exists somewhere between memory and reality. Observers note the clubman's deliberate interest in the room itself. He does not interact with living patrons directly, but his presence draws attention to the history embedded in every corner. He lingers near the cases of pipes, brushes past chairs, and pauses by portraits, almost as if ensuring that the stories of those long gone remain honored and remembered. In this way, he serves as both witness and caretaker, a spectral reflection of the traditions and character that define Keen's. A spectral reflection of the traditions and character that define Keen's. The legend of the ghostly clubman has grown because of its consistency and subtlety. For decades, servers, waiters, and guests have reported the same phenomena. Sightings always involve a gentleman in formal attire, a sense of quiet observation, and the transient fading into shadows. The tale endures because it resonates with the restaurante's identity, blending history, ritual, and mystery into a singular experience that visitors can feel without fully comprehending. The ghostly clubman also embodies the timeless elegance of Keynes. His attire, demeanor, and behaviors reflect a period of sophistication and social formality. By appearing among the portraits and objects that have survived from his era, he acts as a bridge between past and present, a silent observer of the continued life of the establishment. Each glimpse reinforces the sense that history is not static, but alive, and that some presences remain, quietly maintaining the integrity of the space. Those who encounter the clubman often describe a mixture of awe and unease. There is no threat, only awareness. His gaze, focused on portraits or artifacts, conveys a deep familiarity with the stories of the restaurant. Patrons may feel the room shift subtly around them, a gentle reminder that they share the space with more than just the living. These experiences leave lasting impressions, turning an ordinary dinner into a brush with the past. Keynes Steakhouse continues to welcome visitors from around the world, serving meals, drinks, and memories. Serving meals, drinks, and memories. The presence of the ghostly clubman adds a layer of intrigue, making the experience more than culinary. Patrons leave with recollections not only of flavor and ambience, but of the fleeting shadow of a man from another time. He reminds them that places with history often carry more than artifacts, they hold echoes, presences, and stories that continue to unfold in quiet, unexpected ways. Keynes Steakhouse continues to welcome visitors from around the world, serving meals, drinks, and memories. Ultimately, the clubman represents the enduring connection between people and place. He is a figure bound to Keynes Steakhouse, a reflection of its history and character. Patrons may dine unaware, but for those who notice, the experience is unforgettable. He is not simply a ghost, but a guardian of memory, a spectral witness to the passage of time. Reminding all who encounter him that some stories are best appreciated through observation, reflection, and the lingering sense that history never truly leaves a place. The Old Town Tavern has stood for over a century, its brick walls and wooden beams steeped in history. By day, it serves locals and travelers alike, the air filled with conversation, clinking glasses, and the faint aroma of aged whiskey. But as evening falls and the last patrons leave, the atmosphere shifts. Shadows stretch across the room, and a sense of expectancy lingers in the air, as though the tavern itself is holding its breath. It is then that the piano begins to play. The notes are soft at first, tentative, as if testing the space. The melody grows, gentle and haunting, winding through the corners of the tavern and filling every empty chair and table. There is no one seated at the piano, no hands visible to coax the music, yet it flows with precision, emotion, and an undeniable presence. Visitors who have stayed late speak of the sensation vividly. The air seems cooler near the piano. A faint draft moving across the room without origin. Chairs shift slightly, shadows move against the walls. And the faint smell of old polish and candle wax accompanies the music. The sound is not loud enough to startle. But it is impossible to ignore. An invitation to listen closely and feel the energy of the space. The melody carries a weight, a sense of history embedded in every note. Patrons report a feeling of connection to the past, as if the music is a memory replaying itself in the present. There is no sadness, but a lingering wistfulness, a reflection of times long gone and voices that once filled the room with laughter, debate, and song. Observers describe a silhouette near the piano at times, faint and shifting, blurred as though caught between dimensions. The figure never fully materializes, yet its presence is unmistakable. It moves with purpose, guiding the music, leaving subtle traces in the air and on the furniture, a reminder that some things are beyond explanation. The piano itself seems alive, responding to unseen hands, resonating with an energy that defies the ordinary. Notes swell and fade, rising to fill the room and then dropping to a whisper. Patrons often report an irresistible urge to listen, to pause in whatever they are doing and allow the music to envelop them, to become part of the moment suspended in time. Even the acoustics of the tavern play a role. Wooden beams and aged brick create echoes and overtones that amplify the haunting quality of the piano. Every note lingers longer than expected, vibrating through the floorboards, settling in the corners, and reaching the ceiling in a way that seems almost deliberate. The tavern becomes a vessel, a conduit for something beyond ordinary perception. Some guests attempt to record the music, only to find that the instruments fall silent when approached too closely. Others try to trace the source of the sound, yet it moves with a fluidity that defies human logic. The piano may play in one corner one moment and in another the next, its movements graceful and imperceptible, leaving only the echoes behind. Stories passed down by staff and locals tell of a musician who once played nightly in the tavern. Known for a passion that captivated anyone who listened. The performer disappeared under mysterious circumstances, leaving the piano behind. Whether this history is the origin of the music or simply legend, the effect remains undeniable. Every note carries the weight of devotion, memory, and the lingering presence of someone who never left entirely. Guests who witness the phantom musician often describe a sense of calm and reflection. The music invites thought, memory, and imagination. It is not frightening, but it is commanding, a presence that captures attention and holds it. Even in the quietest moments, one feels that the room remembers, that it retains the energy of those who created its history. And that the music is a bridge between what was and what remains. The Old Town Tavern itself seems to participate in the phenomenon. The creak of floorboards, the sway of a chandelier, and the soft rustle of curtains all contribute to the impression that the entire building is alive with memory. The piano is the voice of this presence, a central figure in an invisible drama that unfolds nightly for those patient enough to stay and listen. Those who experience the piano report a profound connection to something intangible. It is as though the music carries stories, conversations, and emotions from generations past. The tavern becomes a space where history and imagination merge. Where guests feel part of a living narrative that is both delicate and enduring. Each evening offers the possibility of encountering the phantom musician. A note may drift across the room. A chord may resonate. And suddenly the space feels alive with the unseen. And where the music lingers long after the final note fades. The Old Town Tavern remains a destination for those seeking more than food or drink. It offers a rare encounter with history, memory, and the intangible. The phantom musician is a silent guardian of this legacy. A presence that speaks through melody, reminding all who listen that some stories are best told not in words, but in music that transcends time. Echoing in empty rooms and shadowed corners. And shadowed corners. Even after the lights are extinguished and the doors are locked. The memory of the music persists. Guests who leave carry it with them. An invisible accompaniment to their thoughts. A reminder that the Old Town Tavern is a place where the past is never truly gone. And where a phantom musician continues to play. For those willing to listen. The Black Cat Tavern has long been a landmark in its town, known for its worn wooden floors, low-hanging lamps, and the hum of conversation that fills the evening hours. By day, it is a bustling place where patrons gather for drinks, stories, and music. But when the last customer leaves and the doors are locked, the atmosphere changes. The warm glow of lanterns seems to flicker with a life of its own, shadows stretching along the walls, whispering of events long past. It is during these late hours that the tavern becomes a place of eerie occurrences. Staff members and a few bold visitors have reported seeing a woman sitting in a corner booth, her figure dimly illuminated by a faint, ghostly light. Her presence is sudden and unsettling, a chill sweeping through the room as if the air itself has been drawn out. Then comes the scream. A piercing, anguished cry that echoes off the walls, reverberating through the empty space. It is a sound that cuts through silence and shakes the nerves, leaving a lingering tension long after it fades. Those who have approached the booth report the figure vanishing instantly. No trace remains, no echo of movement, only the lingering cold that seeps into the bones. Chairs remain undisturbed, glasses untouched, yet the memory of her scream lingers, haunting the senses. Some claim that the temperature drops drastically when she appears, a sudden frost creeping along the edges of the tables and counters, as though her sorrow or anger has seeped into the very air. The legend of the screaming figure has grown over the years. Some suggest she is a woman wronged. A patron who met a tragic end within the taverna's walls. Others believe she is bound to the place by unfulfilled longing or betrayal, eternally reliving her final moments. The story persists in whispers among the locals, each retelling adding weight to the mystery. Each encounter deepening the sense of unease that surrounds the tavern at night. Employees describe an almost instinctive awareness when the hour grows late. The once lively chatter and music fade into silence. And an invisible tension fills the room. Glasses seem heavier. The floorboards creak without reason. And the corners of the tavern take on a strange, watchful quality. It is as if the walls themselves hold the memory of her presence, attentive to the approach of any intruder. Patrons who have witnessed her speak of a sudden urge to retreat, a compulsion to leave before the figure appears again. Some skeptics dismiss the phenomenon as imagination, attributing the screams to drafts, settling buildings, or the Minda's tendency to create patterns in shadow and sound. Yet the accounts are strikingly consistent. Different witnesses, different nights, yet all describe the same figure, the same scream, and the same chill that follows. The pattern is undeniable, a haunting that has persisted for decades, resisting explanation and leaving a mark on everyone who dares to remain in the tavern after dark. The tavern itself adds to the sense of mystery. Its aged interior, with corners shrouded in darkness and furniture polished by years of use, creates a perfect stage for spectral phenomena. The booths, especially the one where the figure appears, are worn and familiar, yet they seem to hold a quiet reverence. As though they are attuned to the presence that occasionally inhabits the space. Every creak, every flicker of light, every sudden chill becomes magnified in the silence, enhancing the sense that something unseen is near. Those who have experienced the apparition describe an overwhelming mix of fear and fascination. The scream is more than a sound, it is a presence, an emotional imprint that reaches into the mind and memory. The cold that follows is oppressive, a reminder that what was seen is not easily forgotten. Even after leaving the tavern, witnesses report hearing the echo of her cries in quiet moments, feeling the lingering weight of her anguish, and sensing her gaze in shadowed corners long after the room is empty. Despite the fear she inspires, there is an element of melancholy in the tale. The figure is not aggressive, she does not harm, only manifests her grief, her anguish, and her sorrow. She is a reminder of lives intertwined with the taverna's history, of moments lost and stories left incomplete. In some ways, her presence preserves the memory of those events, an eternal testament to a life cut short or a tragedy unresolved. The Black Cat Tavern remains a place where the living and the spectral coexist, where history and legend blend into the atmosphere, and where the unseen continues to leave its mark. Visitors are drawn by curiosity, by the thrill of witnessing something beyond explanation, and by the haunting beauty of a story that refuses to fade. The screaming figure is a silent sentinel, a guardian of memory, and a reminder that some presences linger far longer than anyone expects. In the stillness of the night, the tavern waits. Shadows stretch along the walls, the air chills. The air chills and the booth in the corner holds a silent promise. When the hour is right, and the room is empty of all but those willing to witness, the woman appears. Her scream cuts through the night, piercing, unforgettable, and then she is gone, leaving the room colder, heavier, and forever changed. The Black Cat Tavern has become more than a place to drink and converse. It has become a vessel for memory, mystery, and the lingering echo of a presence that cannot be ignored. Peter Luger Steakhouse has been a landmark in Brooklyn for over a century, celebrated for its legendary steaks, historic atmosphere, and bustling dining rooms. Patrons arrive eager to experience a tradition that spans generations. The clinking of glasses, the aroma of sizzling meat, and the hum of conversation fill the air, creating an environment that feels both vibrant and timeless. Yet, beneath the surface of this renowned establishment, there is a story that has captured the attention of staff and visitors alike, a tale of a presence that is seen but never acknowledged. Several accounts speak of a shadowy figure who appears in a private corner of the steakhouse. This figure is described as sitting at a table that remains untouched by waiters and unnoticed by many until it is seen. No food is ordered, no drink is poured, and yet the presence is palpable. Observers describe an intense stillness surrounding the figure, as though the air itself changes, becoming heavier and more silent when it is near. Those who have noticed the shadowy patron often report a sense of being observed. Diners suddenly feel a gaze upon them, an unseen awareness that is unsettling yet not threatening. Eyes may flick to the darkened corner, only to find a form shrouded in shadow, seated with a posture that is both natural and unnervingly deliberate. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanishes, leaving the table empty and the atmosphere tinged with unease and curiosity. The steakhouse itself provides the perfect stage for such an apparition. Dark wood paneling, dimly lit chandeliers, and intimate booths. The energy of decades past seems embedded in the walls, lending credibility to the stories of a presence that is tied to the legacy of Peter Luger. The figure does not disrupt the dining experience outright, but its fleeting appearance leaves an indelible impression on those who notice. Waitstaff have recounted instances where they approached the table to check on patrons, only to find nothing there. Reservations remain unclaimed, chairs untouched, and the air still carries a sense of lingering presence. Some have speculated that the shadowy patron is a remnant of a previous era. Perhaps a loyal customer or an employee who remained tied to the restaurant beyond life. Others suggest that it is a manifestation of the steakhouse's long history. A living memory that occasionally chooses to appear to the observant. Patrons who witness the phenomenon often experience a mix of curiosity and unease. Some glance toward the table and feel a shiver run down their spine, the sensation of unseen eyes tracing their movements. Others report a strange warmth or the faint impression of movement, as if someone had passed closely, brushing against the edge of perception. There is no aggression, no threat, only the quiet insistence of a presence that refuses to be ignored. The appearance of the shadowy patron is unpredictable. It may appear in the midst of a busy dinner service, briefly visible before disappearing among the shadows and chatter. Each sighting is brief, yet each leaves a story, whispered among staff and returning guests, adding to the legend that grows with each retelling. Some believe the figure is a guardian of sorts, a silent observer ensuring the tradition of the steakhouse is respected. Others interpret it as a soul unwilling to leave a place that has been central to its life. Regardless of the interpretation, the shadowy patron has become part of the lore of Peter Luger, a reminder that even in the midst of ordinary experiences, extraordinary encounters may linger unseen. The steakhouse continues to welcome guests from around the world, each table filled with laughter, conversation, and the satisfaction of fine dining. Yet, for those who are attentive, the darkened corners hold a mystery that cannot be ignored. The fleeting glimpse of a figure seated alone, the sense of observation, and the sudden emptiness of the table create an experience that transcends ordinary explanation. In a place built on legacy, history, and the passage of countless meals, the shadowy patron remains an enduring enigma. It is a presence that is respectful yet persistent, unseen yet acknowledged by those who notice. The figure moves silently among the tables, a quiet testament to the weight of memory and the unseen layers of life that coexist with the living. For diners who encounter the shadowy patron, the experience becomes a story in itself, a memory that lingers long after the meal ends. The steakhouse continues to thrive, its reputation undimmed. While the presence in the corner remains, an enduring part of the history, an invisible witness to the generations of guests who have walked through its doors. Peter Luger Steakhouse is more than a place to dine, it is a vessel of history, a keeper of secrets, and a home to a shadow whose story persists quietly in the corners, waiting to be noticed. Gallagher's Steakhouse has stood for decades, a landmark of history and tradition in the heart of the city. The polished wood, dim lighting, and classic copyright SEOR create an atmosphere of old-world charm. Patrons dine among walls lined with photographs, memorabilia, and paintings, each piece telling a story of a bygone era. The restaurant's ambience is rich and inviting, yet for those who stay late, a different layer of Gallagher's history begins to emerge. It begins with the sound of singing. A clear, haunting voice drifts through the empty dining room, filling the space with melodies that seem both beautiful and unsettling. The voice belongs to no visible singer. There is no pianist, no band, and no person behind the bar. Yet the music persists, echoing softly against the walls and ceiling, as if carried by the very spirit of the restaurant itself. Those who have heard the voice describe it as chilling, yet not frightening in a violent way. There is a resonance that lingers in the air, a clarity that makes the presence undeniable. The singer's tone shifts with the movement of the room, rising softly, fading, and then returning, as though performing for an audience that has long since vanished. It is a presence both intimate and distant, a reminder that history can leave behind more than objects and memories. The interior of Gallagher's enhances the phenomenon. The reflections in mirrors seem to dance with the rhythm of the unseen performance. Tables and chairs remain still, yet the space feels alive, imbued with energy from another time. Each note carries the weight of the past, connecting the living to those who once walked the restaurant's floors. Servers and staff have long told stories of the ghostly singer. They speak of sudden chills, of glasses vibrating slightly on the shelves, and of moments when the voice seems to respond to the presence of a lone listener. No one sees a figure, yet the voice carries a personality, a sense of character that feels tied to the very soul of Gallagher's. It is as if the singer remains, performing tirelessly for the patrons who can no longer sit in their chairs. Visitors who linger late into the night report a heightened awareness of their surroundings. The room feels larger yet confined, alive with anticipation. The voice travels through the dining room, pausing near a particular portrait or piece of memorabilia, almost as if acknowledging the history preserved within each artifact. The melody seems to guide the listener through the space, inviting reflection on the passage of time and the lives that once filled the restaurant. The songs themselves are often of a familiar style, traditional and timeless. They carry a tone of melancholy and nostalgia, evoking memories of past celebrations, conversations, and gatherings. The absence of any living performer makes each note more poignant, the silence surrounding it amplifying its impact. Patrons often leave with a sense of awe, feeling that they have witnessed a bridge between the present and the past, a performance that transcends time itself. The ghostly singer's presence is subtle but persistent. It does not intrude aggressively, nor does it create fear through sudden shocks. Instead, it encourages observation and reflection. The experience of hearing the voice is immersive, drawing attention to the stories embedded in the walls, tables, and artifacts of the restaurant. It is a gentle yet powerful reminder that some spaces hold on to more than just their physical forma. They carry echoes, presences, and the remnants of human emotion. Over time, the legend of the ghostly singer has become intertwined with Gallagher's identity. Patrons, both new and returning, carry the story forward, sharing accounts of their experiences and impressions. This phenomenon has been described consistently across decades, reinforcing the sense that the singer is tied to the location itself rather than any individual visitor. This consistency adds to the credibility and allure of the tale, making Gallagher's more than a restaurant. It is a repository of memory and lingering presence. The experience of encountering the ghostly singer is deeply personal. Each listener reports different sensations, from awe to quiet introspection. Some feel a connection to a time long gone. Others are struck by the clarity and purity of the voice amidst the emptiness of the space. The performance is ephemeral, lasting only as long as the listener remains attentive, yet leaving an impression that endures. Gallagher's Steakhouse continues to operate, hosting diners from all walks of life, while patrons enjoy meals and conversation. The unseen singer continues to perform, a timeless presence that history inhabits, not only objects and photographs but also sound, energy, and memory. Each note carries a story, each melody a reflection of the past, echoing through the space and touching those who listen closely. Ultimately, the ghostly singer of Gallagher's represents the power of presence, memory, and tradition. It is a figure that embodies the history of the restaurant, the lives of those who came before, and the enduring resonance of art and human expression. For those who hear the voice, the experience is unforgettable. A haunting yet beautiful reminder that some places hold more than just historia. They hold echoes of life itself, performed endlessly in the quiet hours of the night. The Spotted Pig is a cozy, centuries-old tavern tucked into a narrow street. Its low ceilings and warm lighting create an inviting atmosphere for diners. By day, the restaurant is filled with the aroma of roasted meats, fresh bread, and simmering sauces. Patrons come for the food, the history, and the charm of the old brick walls that have witnessed generations of laughter, conversation, and quiet moments. But as evening settles and the last plates are cleared, the ambience changes. The ambience changes. The tavern takes on a different character. One that is quieter, more attentive, as if the building itself is listening. It is during these late hours that visitors report an unusual presence. A presence that cannot be easily explained. A child's laughter echoes softly through the dining area. It is light, playful, and unmistakably human, yet there is no child to be seen. The sound drifts from table to table, sometimes close, sometimes distant, lingering in corners where shadows gather. Guests describe a sense of wonder mixed with unease, as if they have stepped into a memory that refuses to fade. At times, a small figure appears. Guests have caught glimpses of a child darting between tables, moving so quickly that it is impossible to follow. The figure is slight and pale, with movements that suggest curiosity and mischief, then vanishes before anyone can approach. The laughter continues, echoing in the room long after the figure has disappeared, leaving only the sensation of a presence that is both invisible and undeniably real. The tavern itself seems to respond to the child. Chairs sometimes shift slightly, floorboards creak in patterns that follow the sound of laughter, and the gentle sway of hanging lights mimics the movement of a small figure running through the space. Those who encounter the laughing child often report a mix of emotions. There is joy in the sound, a reminder of innocence and play. Yet it carries an uncanny undertone, a whisper of something that exists just beyond the ordinary. The effect is captivating, compelling visitors to pause, to listen closely, and to wonder about the story behind the presence. The history of the spotted pig provides context, though it offers no definitive answers. Some records speak of a child who was particularly fond of the tavern, often seen helping staff, exploring the nooks and crannies, and delighting in the warmth of the room. Whether this history is linked to the current sightings is uncertain, yet the connection feels tangible. Visitors describe moments when the laughter seems to respond directly to their actions. A quiet conversation may be met with a soft giggle. The clatter of a dropped utensil followed by a burst of playful noise. The interactions are fleeting, delicate, and ephemeral, reinforcing the sense that this presence exists between the worlds of past and present. Photographs taken in the tavern sometimes capture anomalies. Shadows that do not align with the lighting, faint blurs near the edges of images, and reflections that hint at a small figure all add to the mystique. Guests often report a chill or a sudden shift in temperature accompanying these sightings, further suggesting that the space holds memories that linger in subtle, perceptible ways. Staff have adapted to the presence over time, learning to respect it and, in some cases, even anticipate it. Empty chairs are left undisturbed, floors are swept with care, and the piano in the corner is occasionally played softly to harmonize with the atmosphere. The tavern becomes a stage where the unseen can participate, where the past and present coexist in quiet harmony. The child's laughter serves as a reminder of life and energy, a connection to the joy that once animated the space. It is not frightening, yet it commands attention. Guests often leave with a sense of having witnessed something extraordinary, an encounter that is both personal and universal, a fleeting glimpse of innocence that transcends time. Even after the tavern closes for the night, the presence lingers. The memory of laughter, the sense of small movements in empty spaces, and the gentle echoes of a playful spirit continue to inhabit the room. The Spotted Pig remains more than a restaurant, it is a repository of experiences, emotions, and histories that refuse to be forgotten. Those who return often find themselves listening for the laughter, anticipating the darting figure, and embracing the mystery that has made the tavern legendary. It is an experience that blends the ordinary with the extraordinary. A gentle reminder that the past is never truly gone, and that the joy and curiosity of a child can leave an imprint that lasts for generations. The Spotted Pig is a place where memory and presence intertwine, where laughter carries meaning beyond its immediate sound, and where visitors are invited to witness a quiet, enduring mystery. The laughing child continues to roam the tables, unseen yet unmistakable, ensuring that the tavern remains alive with wonder long after the lights have dimmed. The basement of Fraunces Tavern is a space steeped in history. Its stone walls and low wooden beams carry the weight of centuries, echoing the footsteps of those long gone. By day, it is a place of quiet reflection, a reminder of the revolutionary era that shaped a nation. But when the crowds disperse and the lights dim, the atmosphere shifts. Shadows lengthen along the walls, and a chill creeps through the stone floors, hinting at stories that have refused to fade. It is here, in the quiet corners of the cellar, that the ghost of a Revolutionary War soldier is said to appear. Visitors describe an overwhelming sense of being watched, a presence that moves silently among the barrels and crates. Footsteps echo across the stone floor, heavy and deliberate, yet when one follows, no one is there. Chains rattle in the darkness, dragging across the floor or swinging from unseen hooks, a sound that startles the senses and quickens the heart. The spirit is not violent, but its presence is undeniable. Cold spots appear suddenly, seizing the air around them and leaving visitors shivering. Some feel a brush against the shoulder, a fleeting touch that vanishes when they turn. Shadows flicker at the edges of vision, always retreating when directly observed. The effect is subtle but persistent, an awareness that history is alive in ways that defy explanation. Witnesses have recounted encounters with extraordinary clarity. One visitor reported hearing the shuffle of boots along the cellar steps, followed by a faint whisper, incomprehensible yet filled with urgency. Another felt the vibration of chains moving across the floor beneath their feet. As though the soldier was performing tasks from long ago, repeating a routine left unfinished. Each experience leaves a lasting impression, a connection to the past. That is both eerie and compelling. The cellar itself seems to enhance the haunting. Candlelight dances along the walls, casting shapes that appear almost human in form. The stone absorbs heat and light, leaving the room perpetually cool, giving the sensation that the air itself carries memory. Every corner holds the potential for revelation, and every shadow hints at movement just beyond perception. Some skeptics suggest imagination and historical expectation fuel these encounters. The cellar is old, and its floors settle with every passing year. The sounds of wind and nearby traffic could be misinterpreted in the tense silence. Yet the accounts are remarkably consistent. Different people on different nights report the same sequence of phenomena: footsteps, cold spots, rattling chains, and fleeting shadows. The regularity suggests more than coincidence, hinting at a spirit that has chosen to remain tethered to the site. Local historians connect the reports to the building's revolutionary past. The building served as a gathering place for soldiers and patriots, and its cellar may have been used for storage, meetings, or temporary confinement. The soldier's presence could represent a guardian of memory, an echo of sacrifice, or a soul unwilling to leave a place that shaped his life. The cellar becomes a bridge between eras, linking the living to those who walked its floors during pivotal moments in history. The effect on visitors is profound. Even those unacquainted with ghost stories report a sensation of being watched. And an acute awareness of the spacier's age and significance. Some leave with an unsettling sense of having witnessed something beyond the physical. A moment where history and the supernatural intersect. The soldier's presence is subtle yet undeniable. A reminder that certain stories are not confined to books or plaques but live on in the environment itself. Encounters are not always frightening. Many describe a sense of respect, a feeling that the spirit is bound to the cellar out of duty or purpose. The rattling of chains may be the echo of labor, the footsteps a patrol of vigilance, and the shadows a silent observation. In this way, the haunting serves as a testament to the lives and struggles of those who came before, a historical imprint that transcends the ordinary perception of time. The cellar of Fraunces Tavern remains a place of mystery and reverence. Visitors enter expecting a glimpse into history, but they often find something more. The sensation of presence, the inexplicable sounds, and the fleeting shadows create a space where the past is tangible. Where the Revolutionary era feels alive, and where the ghost of the soldier silently continues his watch. It is a haunting that is measured, restrained, and deeply connected to the fabric of the building itself. In the stillness of the evening, when the tavern above has closed and the streets outside grow quiet, the basement takes on a life of its own. Footsteps echo along the stone floors, chains rattle in hidden corners. And shadows shift with subtle intelligence. The phantom revolutionary continues his nightly vigil. A spectral witness to centuries of change. Silently ensuring that the spirit of history remains present. Those who descend into the cellar at night are greeted by more than stone and timber. They are met with the echo of a soldier who has not forgotten. A presence that lingers, and a story that refuses to fade. Smith and Walensky has long been celebrated for its exceptional cuisine, bustling dining rooms, and a kitchen that hums with activity. Chefs move with precision, knives flash, and the air is filled with the aroma of sizzling steaks and fresh herbs. Yet, beyond the clamor of service and the lively chatter of diners, there exists a quieter story, one told in hushed tones by staff who have encountered something beyond the ordinary. Late at night, after the last guests have departed and the lights in the dining room dim, the clatter of pots and pans ceases. The ovens cool. And a stillness settles over the space. It is during these hours that a figure is said to appear. moving among the stainless steel counters and gleaming appliances. This presence is observed manipulating ingredients, shifting utensils, and occasionally turning on the oven or stove without a human hand near the controls. Known among staff as the restless chef. This presence is observed manipulating ingredients, shifting utensils, and occasionally turning on the oven or stove without a human hand near the controls. Those who have experienced the phenomenon describe a sense of movement that is precise and purposeful. Ingredients are never wasted, knives never fall dangerously, and pots seem to stir themselves with a deliberate rhythm. It is as though the figure is attempting to continue the work of its life, perfecting dishes long after the kitchen has gone silent. The presence is not threatening, but it is insistent, a reminder of devotion to craft that transcends time and life. Chefs and kitchen staff often report seeing shadows among the counters, the glint of a knife reflecting light in a way that does not match their own movements. A cutting board may shift slightly, a tray of vegetables may rearrange itself, and the faint hum of a stove or oven will resonate in the emptiness. The faint hum of a stove or oven will resonate in the emptiness. The figure is rarely fully visible, more a suggestion of form than a corporeal being, yet the impact is undeniable. Over time, the legend of the restless chef has become part of the culture of Smith and Walensky. Staff tell stories of arriving early to find ingredients perfectly prepped for the day, or of noticing subtle adjustments to dishes that they themselves did not make. Some describe the sensation of being watched with quiet scrutiny, a presence that observes and ensures that standards are maintained even in solitude. The restaurant's environment contributes to the eerie but fascinating occurrences. Stainless steel surfaces, heavy ovens, and the geometry of the kitchen create spaces where shadows gather and light refracts unpredictably. The faint echo of footsteps or the sudden clatter of a pot seems natural in such a space. Yet the consistency of the patterns and the precision of the movements mark the difference between coincidence and something more. Some speculate that the restless chef is the spirit of a cook who dedicated life to perfection in the kitchen, unwilling to leave the pursuit of culinary excellence behind. Others suggest it is a manifestation of the energy and passion embedded in a place where countless meals have been prepared and served over decades. Regardless of explanation, the presence continues to be a source of intrigue and respectful awe. Encounters are brief yet memorable. Staff may notice a knife moving slightly, a spice jar sliding across a counter, or the oven turning on without a command. Those who pause often feel a sudden shift in temperature, a gentle brush of air, or a sense that they are being observed. There is no aggression, no threat, only the quiet insistence of attention, as though the figure is engaged in an eternal routine. Even beyond the kitchen, the story has reached diners who have arrived late or wandered into the restaurant after hours. Though rarely witnessed from the dining room, the knowledge that a devoted spirit continues its work adds a layer of mystique to the experience. Patrons leave not only with memories of exquisite food but with the awareness that the heart of the restaurant beats in ways unseen. The restless chef represents the intersection of tradition, passion, and the unseen. In a place defined by precision, dedication, and culinary excellence. It is a reminder that some energy refuses to fade. It lingers in the quiet moments, moving among the counters, and perfecting dishes in silence. Each sighting reinforces the connection between human endeavor and the echoes that persist long after hours end. Smith and Walensky continues to thrive, welcoming guests with the same energy and precision that has defined it for years. The kitchen remains a hub of skill and dedication, but for those who are observant, it holds a secret rhythm. A figure moves among the shadows, unseen but present, a silent guardian of the craft, ensuring that excellence continues uninterrupted. For those who have experienced the phenomenon, the restless chef is not a source of fear but a testament to devotion and legacy. The restaurant is more than a place to dine, it is a living story, a space where passion transcends the ordinary. And where the presence of one who loved the art of cooking continues to leave its mark. The kitchen, though quiet at night, is never truly empty. And the spirit of the chef endures in the precision of every movement. The subtle adjustments to dishes. And the unbroken rhythm of excellence that defines Smith and Walensky. The Flatiron Room stands as a sanctuary of history and sophistication in the heart of the city. Its polished mahogany bars, dim lighting, and walls lined with rare spirits create an atmosphere steeped in tradition and elegance. Patrons gather to enjoy fine whiskey and cigars, immersing themselves in the timeless ambience of the room. Yet, for those who remain after hours or pay careful attention to the space, an unexpected presence begins to reveal itself. In a quiet corner of the room, a figure can sometimes be seen. A man, impeccably dressed as though from a different era, lifts a glass in a silent toast. He does not move like a living person, and yet his presence feels undeniable. When they turn to look directly at him, he disappears, leaving only the faintest trace of warmth in the air. The drinking spirit seems to embody the essence of the Flatiron Room itself. He is a reflection of its history, its elegance, and the countless conversations that have taken place within its walls. The toast is not threatening or menacing, it is almost celebratory, a silent recognition of those who occupy the room, bridging the present with a past that still lingers. Staff and regular patrons share stories of encounters over the years. Some describe glasses lifting slightly as if guided by an unseen hand, or the soft sound of footsteps that do not correspond to anyone present. Others speak of the sensation of being observed, a presence near the bar or in the corner of their eye that vanishes when attention is focused too directly. Each account adds to the legend, reinforcing the sense that the room itself is alive with memory and spirit. The experience is immersive and subtle. The man in the corner does not announce the spirit with dramatic displays or startling phenomena. Instead, it is a quiet presence, a figure who seems to move in harmony with the rhythms of the space. This gentleness makes the encounter both intriguing and eerie, leaving visitors with a sense of wonder rather than fear. The ambience of the Flatiron Room contributes to the phenomenon. The glow of antique lamps casts soft shadows, creating corners where the light fades and the imagination comes alive. Reflections in mirrors and polished surfaces sometimes hint at movement where none exists, amplifying the feeling that someone else is sharing the space. The combination of history, architecture, and human attention seems to awaken the presence, allowing the drinking spirit to manifest. Many who have witnessed the figure describe an emotional reaction. There is a sense of connection across time, a feeling that they are sharing a moment with someone who once belonged to the room, and the people who have passed through it. It is a repository of memory, ritual, and human experience. The phenomenon also encourages reflection. Patrons often find themselves contemplating the stories behind the ghostly figure, imagining his life and the times he might have known. A bartender who never left, or a patron so attached to the atmosphere that his spirit remains. The answers are elusive, and perhaps that is the essence of the experience. The mystery itself becomes part of the allure, enhancing the atmosphere of sophistication and intrigue. Encounters with the drinking spirit are brief but memorable. A raised glass, a fleeting presence, a momentary chilla. These small gestures create an enduring impression. Visitors leave the room with a story to tell. A memory of having shared space with someone who bridges the gap between past and present. The ghostly figure does not disrupt the enjoyment of the room. Rather, he enhances it, adding depth and history to the already rich environment. The legend of the ghostly patron continues to grow with each passing year. Regulars share tales, newcomers experience the subtle presence for the first time. And the Flatiron Room maintains its reputation not only for its drinks and ambience, but for its haunting charm. The drinking spirit is a silent witness to the passage of time. A figure whose simple gestures connect those who enter with the life and energy of the past. Ultimately, the ghostly man in the corner represents the enduring nature of memory and presence. His toast is not just a gesture toward the living. It is a celebration of the room, its history, and the countless moments of human connection that have taken place within its walls. Patrons who sense his presence are reminded that some places carry more than their physical forma. They hold echoes of lives, gestures, and moments that linger long after the people have gone. The Flatiron Room remains a place of gathering, conversation, and appreciation for fine spirits. Amidst the laughter and clinking glasses, the drinking spirit endures, offering a silent toast to those who notice. He is a reminder of the past, a witness to the present, and an invitation to acknowledge the subtle, unseen layers of history that permeate the spaces we inhabit. In this way, the Flatiron Room is never truly empty. And every glass raised carries the resonance of both past and present, bridging time through a simple, ghostly gesture. Jimia's Corner is a dimly lit bar nestled in the heart of the city, where the scent of aged whiskey mixes with the faint aroma of fried food. The worn wooden floors and cracked leather stools speak of decades of patrons who have passed through, leaving behind stories, laughter, and occasional whispers of the past. By day, it is a lively neighborhood spot, but as night descends, the atmosphere changes, heavy with anticipation and memory. It is during these late hours that visitors sometimes sense the presence of someone who does not belong to the present. A figure appears in the shadows, moving with the careful precision of a man trained in a different era. He wears old boxing gloves, hands wrapped and poised, his stance rigid yet fluid. Patrons may catch a glimpse of him out of the corner of their eyes, shadowing their movements for a moment before fading away. The spectral boxer does not interact in the conventional sense. There are no words exchanged, no gestures of malice or friendliness. Instead, he moves with purpose, tracing the outlines of the bar as though it were a ring, practicing maneuvers ingrained in muscle memory long after the body has gone. The echo of a missed punch or the soft scrape of leather on wood seems to linger in the air, leaving an imprint of effort and dedication. Longtime staff speak of nights when the air feels heavier, charged with an energy that is both unsettling and exhilarating. Glasses tremble slightly, floorboards creak with no explanation, and shadows stretch in directions that defy the light. Some patrons report a sudden chill, the unmistakable sensation of someone standing nearby. It is then they see him, the figure of a man caught between worlds, moving with the poise and focus of a boxer in his prime. Stories suggest he may have been a local champion, a fighter whose career ended abruptly. Leaving a void that could not be filled. Some say he trained in the backroom of the bar, perfecting his jabs and footwork while the world outside continued unaware. When his time passed, the routines remained, embedded in the space and waiting for anyone perceptive enough to witness them. Guests have described seeing him circle tables, shadowing their movements without cause. A glass set down too abruptly may wobble slightly, a chair seems to shift, and the temperature dips momentarily as if the presence has passed. The movements are subtle, fleeting, and impossible to capture in photographs, yet they are undeniable to those who experience them firsthand. The experience is not frightening in a conventional sense. There is no aggression or threat. Instead, there is awe, a recognition of a life once lived with intensity and discipline. He is a reminder of the echoes that persist, of the human drive to perfect one's craft, of the echoes that persist when dedication and passion leave a permanent mark. Even seasoned locals admit that witnessing the spectral boxer changes their perception of the bar. The energy in the room shifts, and even those who never see the figure can sense the residue of movement and focus left behind. Sometimes the figure appears near the center of the room, standing silently for a moment as if observing the present-day patrons. His gaze seems intent, scanning the faces around him, perhaps reliving memories of training partners, opponents, and nights spent under bright lights. Then, as suddenly as he appeared, he drifts toward the corners of the bar, fading into darkness, leaving only the memory of presence and motion. Regular visitors note patterns. The figure tends to appear when the bar is quiet, when attention is concentrated but relaxed, allowing perception to pick up what might otherwise go unnoticed. There is a rhythm to his appearances, a consistency that suggests purpose rather than randomness. Each sighting feels like a connection across time. A moment where the past and present overlap without collision. Staff have adapted to the presence, acknowledging it silently in their routines. Chairs are left undisturbed, floors swept carefully, and the back room is respected as a place of lingering energy. Occasional whispers of preparation, the rustle of gloves, or the soft thud of a footstep against the floorboards are accepted as part of the bar's character. The spectral boxer has become woven into the identity of Jimmy's Corner, a guardian of memory and craft. Visitors who leave the bar often speak of the sensation hours later, recalling the fleeting impressions, the subtle echoes, and the presence of a figure devoted to excellence. There is a sense of having witnessed something rare, a brush with dedication preserved beyond mortality. The story of the spectral boxer adds depth to Jimmy's Corner, elevating it from a simple tavern to a place of history, mystery, and quiet reverence. In the quiet moments, as the bar empties and lights dim, the presence may linger, moving through shadows and corners with deliberate grace. He is never intrusive, never fully revealed, yet his energy persists. Jimmy's Corner remains alive with the memory of dedication, motion, and discipline. A testament to the spirit of a boxer whose journey continues in the echoes of a beloved space. The spectral boxer is a reminder that some passions leave marks that time cannot erase. He shadows patrons, practices his craft unseen, and fades into darkness, leaving behind a legacy of focus, perseverance, and the silent poetry of movement. Jimmy's Corner is more than a bar, it is a living monument to those who give their all. And in the quiet hours, the spectral boxer ensures that no effort is ever truly forgotten. The Blue Hill Restaurant is a place where history lingers in every corner. Its wooden floors creak beneath footsteps and its walls, adorned with aged photographs, whisper stories of diners long gone. By day, it is a lively gathering spot, filled with the clatter of dishes and the murmur of conversation. But as night falls, the energy shifts. Shadows lengthen along the walls, and a quiet tension settles over the tables, as if the room itself is holding its breath. It is during these hours that the presence of the phantom waiter becomes apparent. Visitors have reported plates moving slowly across tables with no visible hand to guide them. Drinks slide quietly along the polished surfaces. And silverware shifts ever so slightly, as if directed by someone invisible. Orders are taken without a voice. And chairs scrape gently as if a customer had just sat down and left again. The actions are subtle, deliberate, and filled with a strange kind of purpose. Many who experience these phenomena describe a sense of calm rather than fear. The movements are precise, respectful, almost courteous. Some suggest the spirit is a former waiter, committed to his duties even after death, in the way he once did during his lifetime. The presence is felt more than seen, an impression left in the mind that someone is watching over the dining room. The restaurant itself seems to amplify the haunting. Its low lighting casts elongated shadows, giving depth to the empty corners and adding weight to the atmosphere. The gentle creak of floorboards, usually overlooked, becomes a signal of movement, while the faint clink of cutlery hints at unseen activity. The air carries a chill, subtle but undeniable, leaving patrons with a heightened awareness of the space around them. Witnesses recount experiences with astonishing similarity. One diner noticed a plate of food slowly inching across the table while their back was turned. And when they looked again, the plate remained in the center, untouched. Another guest observed silverware shifting as if repositioned by an unseen hand, only to find everything perfectly aligned moments later. Even staff members have felt fleeting touches on their shoulders or seen shadows flicker at the edge of their vision, vanishing before they can be identified. Skeptics argue that these encounters are the result of imagination or environmental factors. The restaurant is old, and the settling of floors or the draft of a poorly sealed window could create minor movements or sounds. Yet the consistency of the reports, the timing of the phenomena, and the sense of an organized presence suggest something more. The experiences are rarely chaotic, they follow a pattern reminiscent of careful, deliberate service. The spirit of the phantom waiter is closely tied to the history of Blue Hill. Decades ago, the restaurant was a hub of community life, a place where families gathered and regulars were known by name. His dedication and attention to detail created a lasting impression, and it is as though his commitment continues beyond the constraints of mortality. He moves silently, attending to tables, delivering what is needed, and maintaining the order he once oversaw in life. The effect on visitors is often profound. Some leave with a feeling of being watched over, as if the restaurant itself is imbued with care. Others experience a shiver, a sudden awareness of something unseen that interacts with the space in familiar ways. It is neither threatening nor aggressive, but it commands attention. A reminder that history and memory are tangible forces, capable of lingering in physical form. The effect on visitors is often profound. The phantom waiter's presence also invites reflection. Patrons are reminded of the passage of time, the fleeting nature of human life. The fleeting nature of human life and the ways in which dedication can leave a lasting imprint. The haunting is both eerie and comforting, a bridge between the present and the past. Even when the restaurant is empty, the air seems alive with unseen activity. Plates glide silently across tables, chairs adjust slightly, and the faint impression of footsteps lingers in the polished wood. The phantom waiter maintains his rounds, a sentinel of tradition and dedication, ensuring that the essence of Blue Hill endures. He is a ghost not of malice but of duty, a spectral presence that transforms the ordinary experience of dining into something remarkable. Visitors who enter Blue Hill at night step into a space where history breathes. Every movement of a plate, every subtle clink of cutlery, and every faint whisper of air hints at the unseen. The phantom waiter remains devoted, moving through the dining room with care and precision. The experience is a reminder that some spirits are bound not by tragedy or sorrow, but by purpose and pride, continuing their work long after the world has changed. Blue Hill becomes more than a restaurant, it becomes a theater for the extraordinary. The presence of the phantom waiter transforms the mundane into something mysterious. A living testament to the persistence of dedication, the echo of memory, and the ways in which the past can inhabit the present. Guests leave with a sense of awe and wonder, having witnessed not just a space, but the enduring devotion of a spirit who has chosen to remain, serving eternally in quiet, unseen ways. Nobu is renowned for its elegance, impeccable service, and the artful presentation of food and drink. Diners arrive expecting a refined experience, where each detail is attended to with precision. Yet, beyond the polished tables and muted lighting, a story circulates among staff, whispered quietly and with both fascination and unease. Late at night, when the last patrons have left and the restaurant is bathed in the dim glow of decorative lighting, glasses begin to move. Some float slowly across the polished surface, drifting as if guided by invisible hands. Others tilt slightly before toppling, shattering on the marble floor with a sound that resonates through the empty space. It is a sight that challenges reason, yet it is reported consistently by those who have witnessed it. Bartenders and staff describe moments when a glass hovers just above the counter, spinning gently in the air, untouched by human hands. The movement is deliberate, precise, and sometimes playful. A wine glass might rise and drift toward an empty stool, A cocktail glass may slide along the edge of the bar. And a water tumbler might tilt midair, held aloft by a force unseen, as though the bar itself has a consciousness. The phenomenon has been observed in quiet intervals, after the clamor of service has faded. The restaurant is empty, and the lights are low. Yet the floating glasses appear, moving in patterns that seem intentional. Sometimes a single glass will levitate slowly, circling a place setting. Other times, a series of glasses glide in sequence, tracing invisible lines across the bar. Occasionally, one will break, falling without warning, its shards scattering across the marble, leaving only the echo of impact in the still air. Staff recount the sensation of presence accompanying the floating glasses. A sudden chill may sweep through the bar, the temperature dropping briefly. Or the air will feel heavier, as if a silent observer stands nearby, and shadows stretch across the floor in ways that do not align with the lighting. The faint sound of movement or clinking accompanies the levitating glasses, and the experience is always fleeting. When approached, the glasses settle, returning to their resting place as if nothing had occurred, leaving those who witnessed the event questioning their own senses. Some speculate that the floating glass is the manifestation of energy from years of careful work behind the bar. Nobu is a place of precision, attention to detail, and ritual in the preparation of drinks. Every cocktail, every pour, every stir is conducted with care and intention. The presence may be a lingering echo of that dedication, a force that continues its work in silence, unseen by most, yet evident in subtle, extraordinary ways. Others suggest a more personal origin. A former bartender, remembered fondly by the staff, may continue to roam the bar, performing the actions they loved in life. Regardless of explanation, the occurrence is treated with a mixture of respect and wonder. A reminder that some energy refuses to fade. Encounters are never violent, never threatening. The floating glasses do not harm, they do not destroy, though occasionally a glass may fall and break, startling the observer. Patrons who have been present during these moments often leave with a sense of awe, a quiet understanding that the space holds more than what is seen. The bar at Nobu becomes a stage for these subtle apparitions, a place where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Staff have learned to observe without disturbing, to respect the rhythm of the space, and to acknowledge the quiet energy that lingers in the late hours. In some instances, the floating glasses seem to respond to human presence. A bartender may set down a glass, and it will shift slightly, aligning perfectly with a nearby counter, or moving closer to a chair. It is as if the bar itself communicates, acknowledging those who respect it and the traditions embedded within. The precision of movement and timing suggests intelligence, a consciousness tied to the rituals of preparation and service. Despite the mystery, life at Nobu continues. The restaurant remains a destination for fine dining, where guests enjoy expertly crafted dishes and beverages. Yet for those who remain until the last light fades, who linger in the quiet of the bar, the floating glass is a reminder that some spaces hold echoes of the past. Invisible hands trace the surfaces. Glasses drift gracefully, and a silent presence preserves the artistry that defines the restaurant. The floating glass is more than a phenomenon. It is a testament to dedication, a lingering spirit of perfection, and a quiet observer that continues its work long after the world has gone to rest. Those who witness it speak of wonder, of a surreal dance that bridges the natural and the extraordinary. Nobu, elegant and alive by day, reveals another layer of life at night, where glasses float and hover, where the air feels charged with unseen energy, and where the ordinary transforms into something quietly remarkable. In the stillness, among the polished surfaces and soft lighting, the bar is never truly empty. The floating glass moves with grace and intent, a silent guardian of craft and devotion. It is a presence that captivates, fascinates, and leaves an indelible impression on all who witness it. A reminder that some energy persists beyond the ordinary, shaping the world in ways both subtle and extraordinary. Bemmelman's Bar is a sanctuary of elegance and charm tucked within the heart of the city. Its dim lighting, polished wood, and classic murals create an atmosphere where history and artistry blend seamlessly. Patrons come to enjoy expertly crafted cocktails and the soft hum of conversation, unaware that the bar harbors a presence that observes, records, and vanishes with equal subtlety. In the quiet corners, some visitors report seeing a figure moving almost imperceptibly among the tables. An artist, dressed in attire from another era, sits at the edges of light and shadow. He moves a pencil across blank pages, sketching rapidly yet delicately, capturing the forms and expressions of those around him. The process seems tangible and deliberate, yet when anyone attempts to look closely, the drawings disappear as though they never existed. The hidden artist embodies the spirit of the bar itself. He does not interfere with patrons or disrupt the enjoyment of the evening. Instead, he quietly observes, immortalizing moments in a way that is both intimate and elusive. Those who sense his presence often feel a chill or a gentle awareness, as though someone is noticing them without their knowledge. The sketches are a reflection of the Ruma's energy, fleeting imprints of life that fade before they can be fully comprehended. Staff and regular visitors share stories of the ghostly artist. Some have glimpsed the pencil moving across pages that seem suspended in air. Others report brief sightings of a figure standing in shadow, then vanishing when attention is drawn. The phenomenon is subtle yet compelling, leaving an impression that lingers long after leaving the bar. These accounts weave together a sense of mystery, a presence that honors the artistry and culture of the space. The artist does not seek to frighten. His work is gentle, and the vanishing sketches carry a sense of playfulness and intrigue. Patrons sometimes feel a fleeting connection to the drawings, sensing that they were captured, if only for a moment, in a private homage to their presence. It is a reminder that the bar holds more than its physical form, that history and memory exist alongside the clinking of glasses and murmured conversations. The ambience of Bemmelman's Bar contributes to the manifestation of the hidden artist, sometimes revealing movement or presence where none should be. Seems to awaken the artist, allowing him to carry out his silent work. Witnesses describe an emotional resonance during encounters. There is a sense of being part of something larger. A connection across time with someone who appreciated the same space, the same atmosphere and the same patrons. The disappearing sketches become a symbol of transience. A reminder that not everything can be held. Yet every moment leaves an imprint, even if invisible to the eye. The experience encourages reflection on artistry and perception. Visitors often wonder about the life of the artist, imagining the times he knew, the people he observed, and the stories he captured. The anonymity and elusiveness of the presence enhance the allure, turning the simple act of sketching into a mysterious ritual that bridges the past with the present. The unknown elements of his work make each encounter unique, leaving the mind to fill in details with imagination and wonder. Encounters with the hidden artist are fleeting but memorable. Patrons recall moments of heightened awareness, the sensation of being observed, or a sudden awareness of an empty page that feels as though it had just held something. The vanishing drawings leave a sense of curiosity, an invitation to appreciate subtleties and the quiet beauty of the room. The artista's presence enhances rather than diminishes the atmosphere, enriching the experience of those who notice him. The legend of the hidden artist continues to grow. Regulars recount tales to newcomers, and the bar maintains its reputation. Not only for its cocktails and ambience but for the mystery that lingers in its corners. The artist is a witness to time, a silent observer who honors the people and the energy of the space. Patrons who sense him are reminded that some places hold layers of history and spirit that are invisible, yet profoundly felt. Ultimately, the ghostly artist at Bemelman's bar represents the enduring nature of memory and creativity. His sketches, though ephemeral, capture the essence of the room and its occupants. The vanishing images are a quiet celebration of life, a reminder that even fleeting moments can leave a lasting impression. Those who encounter him are part of an ongoing story, a connection across time to someone who understood the power of observation, artistry, and subtle presence. Bemelman's bar remains a place of elegance, conversation, and quiet reflection. Amid the laughter, music, and soft murmur of conversation, the hidden artist continues his work, observing and sketching without acknowledgement or fanfare. Patrons leave with stories, memories, and a sense of having shared the space with someone who transcends time, quietly capturing the essence of life in a hidden corner of the bar. Lillia's Victorian establishment stands quietly on a corner of the old city. Its exterior a mixture of faded brick and ornate woodwork that speaks of a bygone era. By day, it welcomes guests with the scent of fresh pastries and the hum of conversation. But as evening falls, the atmosphere changes. The flicker of gaslight creates shifting patterns. And a stillness settles over the rooms that feels almost alive. It is in this twilight that some visitors have reported noticing a figure in a dark corner, a woman who seems both present and distant at the same time. Her form is slender, draped in flowing attire reminiscent of the Victorian period, her head bowed and shoulders trembling. A soft, unearthly sob drifts across the room, carried with an intensity that suggests deep sorrow. The sound is gentle, almost delicate, but it resonates with those who hear it, leaving a lingering ache in the chest. No one knows exactly when she appears. Some say it is just after the last patrons leave, when the establishment quiets down and the muffled echoes of laughter fade into silence. Others report seeing her in the middle of a lively evening, unnoticed by most until a faint glance in the corner draws attention. Those who have looked closely describe her face as pale and tear-streaked, her eyes wide with sadness, yet impossibly distant, as if she exists partly in another time. Visitors who approach the figure often find that she reacts to their presence in an unusual way. She does not speak, and she does not make any aggressive gesture. Instead, the air seems to ripple slightly. And before any comfort can be offered, she vanishes. The corner is left empty, the shadows still and undisturbed, as if she had never been there at all. Only the faint echo of a sob may remain, carried by the corners of the room long after the figure disappears. Staff members of Lily's Victorian establishment have their own experiences. They speak of times when dishes have shifted slightly, chairs scrape the floor without explanation, or the temperature drops inexplicably in the area where the figure appears. Some have felt a gentle brush of cold air or a fleeting sense of presence in a room otherwise empty. These occurrences are subtle, never frightening, but they are consistent enough to become part of the lore surrounding the establishment. The origins of the weeping woman remain a mystery. Some speculate that she was a patron of the establishment during its early years. Someone whose life ended tragically and whose sorrow remains tied to the walls she once frequented. Others suggest she could be a reflection of the cumulative grief of all those who have passed through. A spirit formed from echoes of human emotion that linger in time. Whatever the truth, her presence carries a weight of melancholy that is tangible to those who notice it. Those who have encountered her often speak of the profound effect she leaves behind. There is a sense of empathy and connection, a quiet recognition of human sadness that transcends eras. Patrons describe leaving the establishment with a lingering heaviness, a mixture of awe and introspection. It is a reminder of fragility, loss, and the endurance of emotion beyond the confines of life. The phenomenon is not confined to a single spot. Some have seen her near the staircase. Others by the large window overlooking the street. Each appearance carries the same haunting consistency, a bowed figure, soft sobs, and the fleeting vanishing act that leaves no trace. The patterns suggest intent rather than randomness. As if she moves through the establishment in search of something unseen. Or perhaps reliving moments that belong to a past she cannot leave behind. Visitors have attempted to interact in various ways, softly calling out or stepping closer, only to find themselves met with absence. Attempts to capture her image have invariably failed. Cameras and phones show nothing, or at best a blur where her figure should have been. It is as if she exists outside the normal perception of time and space, visible only to those who are sensitive to the subtle energies of the environment. The Weeping Woman of Lillia's Victorian establishment embodies more than fear or mystery. She is a symbol of lingering memory, a presence that connects the past with the present. The soft sobs remind visitors that every place carries history, every wall bears witness, and emotions can imprint themselves upon spaces in ways that defy explanation. Her appearances are a momentary bridge to another time, offering a glimpse of life and loss preserved in shadow. As night deepens and the last lights flicker, the establishment holds its breath. The corners where she might appear remain calm yet expectant. The figure of the weeping woman may return at any moment. Her sorrowful presence a quiet testament to endurance, emotion, and the persistence of memory. Guests leave with a sense of having witnessed something profound. A fleeting encounter with a spirit whose sadness has echoed through decades. The experience of encountering her is subtle, delicate, and unforgettable. Lillia's Victorian establishment becomes more than a restaurant or a gathering place. It becomes a space where history lingers, where emotion can be felt long after the people have departed. The weeping woman moves silently through the shadows. Her soft cries a reminder that some spirits are defined not by menace, but by the quiet endurance of feeling that refuses to fade. Her presence is fleeting, yet impactful, leaving behind an imprint of sorrow and humanity that touches all who notice. She disappears if approached, yet her essence remains, woven into the atmosphere of the establishment. In the quiet corners of Lillia's Victorian establishment, she waits, weeping softly, a timeless echo of sorrow and memory that continues to inhabit the space, bridging the gap between past and present with every tear shed. Grand Central Oyster Bar is a place where the hustle of the city fades into an underground world of echoes and shadows. Its vaulted ceilings and tiled walls reflect every sound, creating an atmosphere where whispers linger and footsteps resonate long after they have passed. By day, the restaurant bustles with patrons, the clatter of dishes and low hum of conversation filling the space. Yet at night, when the crowds have dispersed, the atmosphere transforms. Silence dominates, punctuated by a presence that is both elusive and unmistakable. It is during these quiet hours that the phantom musician appears. There is no figure to be seen, no instrument held in hand, yet the music fills the room. A soft melody drifts along the arched walls, delicate and haunting, curling around corners and across the checkered floor. Each note resonates with a clarity that seems impossible without a living performer. Patrons and employees alike have reported hearing piano or string music that plays with intent, emotion, and precision, yet vanishes when approached. The experience of hearing the phantom musician is both unsettling and enchanting. Visitors describe the music as beautiful, almost mournful, lingering in the air long after it has been played. It carries a sense of history, as though the sound is drawn from another era. When the Oyster Bar was frequented by travelers, artists, and dreamers. There is a rhythm to the notes, a cadence that hints at a presence deeply familiar with the space, moving through it as naturally as air itself. Many who have encountered the music describe a feeling of being observed without being watched. The notes seem to respond to movement, rising and falling with the pace of those nearby. Some claim that the music is warmer and more vivid when the restaurant is empty, as if the spirit has more room to perform without distraction. Others feel the melody becomes softer or hesitant when footsteps approach, as though the musician is aware of human attention and retreats in response. The origin of the phantom musician remains a mystery. Some suggest it is the spirit of a former performer, someone whose dedication to music was so profound that it persisted beyond death. Others speculate that the acoustics of the bar, the tiles, and the arches amplify residual energy, creating the illusion of a conscious melody. Yet for those who have listened, the music feels intentional. It tells a story, conveys emotion, and leaves a presence that is unmistakable, unlike any ordinary sound. The oyster bar itself seems to honor the presence. Its design, with long arches and reflective surfaces, carries sound across distances, giving the melody depth and movement. Creating a visual accompaniment to the unseen performance. Even when the space is empty, the tiles seem to vibrate with life, holding memory and motion in a way that complements the haunting music. Witnesses recount varied experiences. One visitor, pausing near the bar, described hearing a slow, melodic tune that seemed to swirl around their head, each note perfectly pitched. When they turned to see the source, the room remained empty, yet the music continued, intimate and precise. A bartender reported feeling a breeze pass through the space during a particularly clear performance, as if the musician were moving unseen among the tables. Every encounter, while unique, shares a common thread: the music is present, alive, and profoundly affecting. Skeptics often argue that the sounds are echoes of past performances, the result of acoustics, or the imagination of listeners in an empty room. Yet the consistency of the reports, the deliberate phrasing of the music, and the unmistakable emotional weight of the notes suggest something more. Unlike random echoes, the melody follows a pattern, with deliberate timing, pauses, and inflections, as though an attentive performer is present in spirit. The phantom musician transforms the oyster bar into a space where history and memory converge. The music connects listeners with moments long past, evoking a time when the bar was a haven for those seeking comfort, connection, or inspiration. It is a reminder that places carry stories, that dedication and artistry can leave a lasting imprint, and that some presences, though unseen, continue to shape our experience. Even after the music fades, the memory lingers. The curve of an arch, the pattern of tiles, the way sound travels through the room. The persistence of memory, and the unseen hands that sometimes guide it. The Grand Central Oyster Bar becomes more than a restaurant. It is a stage for the extraordinary. The phantom musician inhabits its walls and ceilings, transforming the ordinary act of walking through the space into an encounter with the mysterious and the sublime. Every note, every lingering sound, is a reminder that some spirits are drawn not by mischief or malice, but by devotion to their craft. In this way, the music continues to live, echoing across time, and touching those who listen with a sense of wonder, reverence, and awe. In the quiet hours of the night, when the city above slows, the phantom musician plays. The notes drift through the arches, across the tiles, and into the hearts of those who pause to listen. The music is a bridge between past and present, a ghostly performance that honors the spirit of artistry, and a haunting reminder that some melodies never truly end. Thank you for joining me tonight as we explored New York's haunted restaurants. From historic taverns to modern bistros, we have seen spirits that linger long after closing hours. We have felt the presence of chefs, patrons, and mysterious figures who refuse to leave. These restaurants may appear lively during the day, but at night, they serve more than food. They serve memories, echoes, and whispers from beyond the grave. These restaurants may appear lively during the day. If you ever dine at one of these haunted places, pay attention to the shadows, the sounds, and the fleeting figures in your peripheral vision. Some spirits are playful, some are sorrowful, and some are always watching. Until we meet again, stay curious, stay safe, and respect the stories that linger in the night.